Hello and welcome to the Real Life Podcast, episode number 28. It's August and I'm in Edinburgh, and that can only mean one thing. Yes, I'm ceremoniously using the title of a festival that I've made no efforts to be an actual part of while plastering it all over the episodes of my podcast. Yes, it's the Edinburgh Fringe special for 2024. This time round, I'm going to be joined by Roddy Cummins, good friend of the podcast, and Amelia Fenwick for her first time on, and we're going to be talking through our favourite top 5 Disney Pixar animated films. This was a topic we sort of came up with on the fly because conditions for recording were slightly more rushed than we anticipated, but we made the most of it. We've had a really good chat about it, and I think we've talked about a lot of childhood favourites and stuff that translates through to adulthood viewing as well. Shorts were excluded from our lists because if they weren't, then I would have had a list of 5 shorts that no one would have heard of, and let's be honest, as much as I love being a hipster with my choices, that's not going to be that interesting. So feel free to dive into a chat now of films that hopefully everyone knows very well, and we can have a good chinwag about them. So without further ado, this is the Fringe Special with Roddy and Amelia on our favourite Disney Pixar films. I say, have you anyone got any honourable mentions?
Fuck.
I want to do my honourable mentions when you actually read my legit ones out. Just as a substitute.
Okay, fine. I mean, I've got some now that I was going to fire off that were nearly in the top 5.
I have an honourable mention.
Okay, what is it?
So it was a massive part of my childhood. I think for everyone, Disney was a massive part of their childhood. And I was scrolling through, sort of when I was researching for this over the past month or so.
20 minutes.
There was
4 minutes.
A franchise that was really close to dear to my heart, and my granddad used to sit at the foot of my bed and he'd read me all the books. And so I remember the videotapes. I had all of them of every single film.
Boss Baby.
And it was the Winnie the Pooh franchise.
Okay.
And it's a franchise I hold, and I know many other people hold it very close to their heart. It's a sweet tale about, a boy coming to terms with his emotions. It didn't make it on my list. There's a lot of films. One of them I remember very vividly, but I couldn't work out which one it was. So yeah, the Winnie the Pooh films are in my honourable mentions.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Do you know the problem with all of that?
What?
Is I thought there was going to be a punchline.
No.
So I was taking none of it seriously. So now your very earnest and lovely story, I was just sat there like, it's going to be Boss Baby. Amelia, do you want to do an honourable mention now? No? Okay. Well, I have 3. All of Toy Story is an honourable mention. I think 1, 2 and 3 are all pretty much as good as each other. And I know loads of people love them. And I think they're very emotional. I think they're a great story but they're for the parents, really. The idea that they too will no longer be played with anymore, and then the kids leave home. That's, the parents are the toys. That's the whole idea. It's very sweet and very emotional, but I've never loved it. I've never stuck it back on myself, and that's me. So they're an honourable mention, but they are all fantastic. The 4th one I thought was unnecessary, but it was also alright.
I think they're really overrated.
You hate them. Amelia revealed something quite sort of proudly.
I don't hate them. I just think they're really overrated.
Okay.
And that there didn't need to be 4 of them, and it could have all been done in one.
Well, good news for you. There's going to be 5.
No.
My other one is WALL-E, because I think the first act of that film is perfect. It reminds me of Silent Cinema. It's all about movement and, without the use of language, it turns into this whole kind of expressive visual thing, which is great. And then the second the fat people turn up, it starts to go downhill and sort of revert back into a more sort of bog standard type animated thing. And the computer is basically just HAL from 2001.
Yeah.
But I think the first part of that is so beautiful that it nearly made it in there just for that alone, but the whole thing lets it down. And the other one is the Rob Zemeckis animated Christmas Carol, which I don't know if you've ever seen it.
That's rogue, yeah.
It's fucked. It's so creepy. They make everything look so strange, but I kind of love it. And it gave me the heebie-jeebies as a kid, and then it did that thing that the Christmas Carol should do, which is you get to the Ghost of Christmas Future and start to feel like disgusting, and then wake up the next morning and it's like, oh, everything's fine. I'm not really, getting eaten or whatever.
It's sort of that like uncanny valley.
It is a bit.
A bit like the Polar Express.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it done by the same people as Polar Express?
I don't know actually.
Because it
looks a lot like it.
And there's one point
Creepy.
where the big guy that looks like Santa Claus doesn't have any eyes.
Yes, the big guy that looks like Santa Claus. It's a hell of a nose, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
on
a
old
big
Scrooge.
schnoz.
Big schnoz. Yeah, those are my honourable mentions. So I think we just sort of dive in to the top 5. So, Roddy,
Yes.
what's at number 5 on your list?
So number 5, it's a film that I've chosen not because I like the film that much, but because of the memories it built to me. Because I think with Disney, a lot of the time they're not just making the film for the film, they're making the film to build a bit of a franchise, right? You know, they want to sell toys, they want to sell games, they want to sell t-shirts, they want to sell backpacks, they want to sell lunch boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And this film had a really good Xbox original video game that I played so much, and it was Chicken Little. The famous saying, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling."
Yeah.
And
I like the film.
I mean, the film's great. I
Such a
really
cool
like the
guy.
film. I really like the
Dude.
film.
When he slides in, it's like...
Hey.
Yeah, no, it's good. He's cool. I like the plot. It was my first sort of foray into the world is ending because of some cosmic horror threat film. It was sort of my first entrance.
It's a
into
niche
that.
market.
Yeah.
It's
it is.
an introduction into it, that's for sure.
And the game is really fun. I remember for hours trying to escape the mean ducks in the play park or playing dodgeball against the big pig. So, you know, I think Chicken Little made up the best part of my childhood, and that's why it's number 5 on my list. I mean, what do you guys have to say?
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Top 5 Childhood Video Games that we play. I've never played the Chicken Little game, but I'm glad that completely unrelated piece of media is what's made it into the list. That's
Yeah.
really
on
good.
DS. I feel like I've seen it on DS.
Yeah, it probably
It
is
was
good.
probably a multi-platform thing.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I really want to play it now.
It's good. Well, it's almost as good as the film. It's quite.
So why didn't you talk about
accurate
the
to
film then?
It's the film's, you know, it's fine. But the game, I feel like look, I feel like a Disney film is so much about the whole thing around it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Cars. That for me, a bit of a spoiler. It's in my list, but it wouldn't be as high up in my list if I didn't spend all my childhood playing with the little car toys.
Sure.
You know, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot more to Disney films than just the film.
Yeah.
And I think because it's such like a magical, whimsical period of your life,
Mm-hmm.
you're so encapsulated in that story. I really enjoyed the Chicken Little's like film. I watched it a lot, and the game
And the
So,
brand that came with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing to say about all of these, is that they are evocative of a time when these films are sort of the most important, I
Yeah.
think. Because you could raise a kid on Quentin Tarantino films and they'd be messed up.
Yeah.
But if you raise a kid on, you know, Wall-E, then it's sort of but it is a wondrous thing. It's like they are genuinely evocative of like proper good childhood emotions. We're saying, I should preface this, by the way, that the people either side of me are slightly hungover, and I too am very tired. I've called this a Fringe special, and we've been indulging in the Fringe heartily. But perhaps detrimental to this particular episode. But whatever. Amelia, number 5.
My number 5 is Dumbo.
Oh.
Purely because, I don't know, I'm currently Googling the plot, but I'm trying to work out...
I've not seen it, but...
No, I've seen it a lot, but what was the emotional point of it?
He's got massive ears,
he's got
and he gets bullied,
No.
and then he
I
goes
think
to
it-
a support
goes-
group.
Yeah.
His mum does drugs, and then he learns to fly as a way, but he
Wait,
flies
no, hold
too
on.
close to the sun. And then,
Whoa, that is
sorry,
not... Have you
different
not
film.
seen
Different
it?
film. Yeah, I've seen Dumbo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that he goes to see his mum and then he can't get through the bars and they just like
Yeah.
intertwine trunks, and it's so sad. Like, it's my Bambi. Like,
Yeah.
I think Bambi's a little bit like, everyone knows it as the sad film, but
Yeah.
I think Dumbo's really, really sad.
Yeah.
And I love that he can fly, and that's such a sick thing. And
That's
also, it's got the best joke that I've ever heard ever, or wordplay anyway, best wordplay. And my dad says it probably once a day, and I didn't get it until I was probably about 18.
Last week.
And it's I can make a horse fly, you can make a house fly,
yeah.
but you can't make an elephant fly.
Yeah.
Such a good quote.
It's good. I think Dumbo's a sweet choice, but it lands into that category of films that are like, for kids? Really? That is heartbreaking.
It is
Like
really
Bambi,
cute.
basically the plot of Bambi is like turns and goes, "Where's mum? Oh, your mum's been shot."
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Mate's
shit.
burned
And
alive.
Dumbo's,
Yeah.
where's your mum? Oh, you're caged in a
Prison.
different
Yeah.
cage to you.
I mean, it's a good lesson for kids, which is circuses aren't all the fun that they're cracked up to be, I suppose. And captivity is probably not the best idea we've ever had.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
they-
learning as well.
Yeah, but they get to live together in the
They
end.
do, and that is nice. On the subject of best jokes in films, there's a film called King of Thieves, which is really, really boring. It's got Michael Caine and Ray Winston and
love Ray Winston.
a bunch of other, Alan Armstrong, I think, a bunch of other old people, Paul Whitehouse. But there's a great moment in it where these old men are trying to plan a bank heist. And they sit down, and I think one of them has missed the email that they sent to all of them with some of the details of like what they're doing, and they're like, someone goes like, "Didn't you check your emails?" And he's like, "No, I mean, it's on the. I don't go on the internet that much." And then I'm like, "For God's sake, man, catch up!" And he goes, "Oh, the next thing you're going to tell me is the whole world revolves around the internet." And I go, "It does, for God's sake!" And then the rest of the film's really dull, but that cracks me up every time. Okay, my number 5. Let me check my list because I drew this up 5 minutes ago. Side note: this was meant to be. I said in my last podcast, I was like, right, I've got 2 episodes coming up. Got one with Roddy and Will, where we talk about Alex Garland, and I've got one with Amelia. We're going to do stop motion films, and we've decided to do neither of those and sort of merge the two.
Yeah.
Will is elsewhere, and I've just thought with these two, and then I was like, do we have a plan? And then I saw them this morning, and they were meant to come to mine, and Amelia was like, yeah, we're not coming to yours, can you come to ours? And we were like, so I have to come to ours. So we've literally spent 5 minutes doing this. My number 5 is The Incredibles.
No!
Oh.
That's...
So
That's allowed.
if it's on your list, fine, but don't tell us where. I love it. I mean, I don't come back to it all the time, but I think it's got some of the cleverest elements of any of the Disney and Pixar films in it. I think Edna Mode is one of the best characters ever created. I don't ever think I'll be able to go to Italy without just going, Milan, darling, Milan. It's amazing. Again, it's slightly too grown up for kids because the main theme of it is like domestic ennui. It's like this guy is, you know, not sure. His wife thinks that he's cheating on him, which as a kid you just don't get as a concept. And then they come back and like, oh shit, that's what was going on. And then like his job's falling apart. He's horrendously depressed. He's got nothing to live for in life. And then they rebirth him as a superhero, and that's the way he gets out of it. And it's like, this is some heavy shit. I love all the characters. I love that it's basically James Bond and superheroes combined into one. I think Brad Bird's a genius. I think the score by Michael Giacchino is unbelievable. The visuals of it are stunning. All the characters are great. They're really fleshed out. But I do have questions like, when Mrs. Incredible gives birth, does she actually need to like do anything, or can she just like just wide literally it's like getting a delivery? And because presumably she just never has to experience pain in her life.
No, she just stretches.
Fair.
Yeah.
Also, the thing that's about the Jack Attack short that comes with it, I think is fabulous.
Yes.
But we're not doing it. We made a pact that we weren't going to do shorts because obviously there's loads of them, and also they're like 3 minutes long, so it's kind of difficult to be like, here's some films.
I've got a couple of things to say.
Oh, go ahead.
One, the ball scene in The Incredibles really scared me.
Yeah.
When he's running across the thing and then he gets
Yeah.
covered in... That scared me. The second thing is, what do you think of the sequel?
I thought it was fine. I quite enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say I loved it.
No.
But I don't think it was unnecessary. I don't think it was like Toy Story 4 where I was like, oh, I kind of don't need this. But I sort of was enjoying it. I thought the pacing of it was really good. The plot of the second one,
I haven't seen it, so...
it's basically tries to pick up from where the last one left off, doesn't it? Right. So the mole comes up out of the ground and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. But I really like the idea that, and actually, I really, really like when Dash is in the race and he comes second.
Yes.
I think that's such a great little like a detail of being like, if you could smoke everyone, it's like, have some humility, be a bit humble.
Yeah.
And then, you know, still celebrate it after. And he's still really happy afterwards. Yeah. So it's just like all the elements of it come together. But it's weird. I don't ever find myself coming back to it all the time, whereas I would with some other ones.
Yeah.
But I do think it's great. So, there you go.
Yep.
Number 4, what do
Wait, can I go next?
Oh, there's been some hijacking of the format. Yes.
Because mine's number 4 is The Incredibles.
Okay,
so
fine.
I want to continue.
All right, fine. Yeah, sure.
The only thing that I want to add is my favourite scene in The Incredibles is the first clip when he puts his hand on the car and it just melts and it's the best thing. It's so satisfying. And I'm like, I just wish I could do that to most objects.
Just
Just
collapse.
like leave handprints
Be
everywhere.
so good. Also, you got Frozone.
Yeah,
who's
Frozen.
Just
Where's
genius.
my
Where is my super suit?
Yeah.
But I have questions about that.
Go on.
Does he have difficulty peeing?
I've never.
Do you know what we need? We need a third film, which is just all of them going to the doctors on various occasions and being like, "There's some irregularities with your X-ray." No, everything's fine. No.
But it's also it's super clever. Like the naming of people as well. Like Violet being ultraviolet and invisible, and Dash, and also I love Jack being Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Oh, so smart. And
We've
yeah.
had
And
a
that's why he's got loads
revelation.
of powers. And there's the scene with Jack and Edgar Mode is incredible. And is there a spin-off between Edgar Mode babysitting Jack? A little short.
I don't know. There might be
And
actually.
I think there is, and I haven't seen it, and it's really good.
Capes are last year, darling.
Iconic. Okay, back to Roddy.
Good. All right. Number 4 already.
Okay, fans of this podcast and my episodes will remember this. It's a cult classic. It's, it was one of the straight to DVD films, I'll admit. Not many people have seen it, but I've seen it and I love it. And I rewatch it very regularly. And I think it's a fantastic, heart-wrenching retelling of a classic story. A phenomenal score. It adds a song into the original score, which is already basically perfect, entitled Dig a Tunnel. And it's just one of those films that rejuvenates a potentially dying IP. I mean, they've got a play on the West End, which is being done to death, and everyone's been like, I've seen it. It's boring.
Done to death.
The most
And
successful play.
and yeah, but everyone's bored. It's like Hamilton. Like, who wants to see Hamilton now? And that film is Lion King 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Dom?
Yeah, I have.
It's good.
It is good.
And it's
I don't quite understand this level of obsession, but it is good.
no. It's not obsession. It's devotion. It's so there's a beautiful moment in the original film. For anyone who haven't seen it, put your fingers in your ears for a moment. When Simba becomes the king of Pride Rock,
Just in case you've never seen Lion King and you don't want to have Lion King 1.5 spoiled. Put your fingers in your ears. Yeah.
Okay, so he goes to the top. The music crescendos. It's wonderful. It's really nice. It's quite emotional. But when you watch it in Lion King 1.5, it's that much more emotional because you're following Timon and Pumbaa. They've raised this cub. You've watched them because in the original Lion King they brush over it.
Yeah.
It happens in 5 minutes. This is a film all about two unlikely parents raising an unlikely child. And right at the end, when the music crescendos, it's not about just Simba becoming king. It's about them having succeeded in their parenting role when they were originally very immature. And all three of them have matured together through this very harrowing process, which The Lion King is. And I think Lion King 1.5 just adds that extra emotional poignance to the end of the film.
Well, it's a prequel sequel, isn't it?
Yes.
So you get more of a background understanding. It was just from a different point in that thing.
Yeah.
Did they come out with Lion King 2 before they came out with Lion King 1.5?
I don't know. Lion King 2 is a weird one. They actually had to re-release it because of incest issues. I don't know if you knew that.
But also, lions do that. So I don't think it was
So what's everyone crying about? God, can we not just have some biologically accurate lion incest in our films? You can't say anything these days.
It does feel weird that they had to take it back and then go, oh wait, they're not related.
Yeah.
What other lions are going to be out there?
Yeah, true.
So yeah, that's my number 4.
Okay.
You seem very disappointed. I thought it was
No. I mean, it is a good. No, it's a great spiel. The thing is you always build up these things as if, whatever. You do you, man. You enjoy your Lion King 1.5. Okay, my number 4 is Soul. I saw Soul when it came out pretty soon afterwards, and I was just sort of blown away by it. I think it's probably one of the cleverest things that they've done in a long time. And actually, it's potentially the most grown-up lesson that they've told kids. Either that or Inside Out. But with Soul, it's this idea that, like, death's a thing, and maybe the best way to confront that as a kid isn't to be like, you see this deer that's really cute, your mum's dead. It's like, maybe the better way to do that is not to, like, rip the plaster off, but to make it seem like, you know, like a journey, like an experience, like something to get used to, something to come to terms with. And I think that little beam of light that moves the souls up towards that place is that journey, and I think that's really right. Also, it has some excellent jazz music in it. It's very, very pleasingly animated. Graham Norton's a lot of fun, and I just really, really like the flicking between... What was weird is, you know, the flicking between the two worlds doesn't ever feel like it's disconnected, even though they look completely different. I always feel like it's an understandable part of the same world. So yeah, I was really, really taken with Soul. I think it may be to do with the fact that it was in lockdown that I saw it, or that it came out, or whatever, 2020, yeah. So I was like in the mood for uplifting stuff. Yes. But it really did the job. And it's probably not, like, objectively better than The Incredibles, realistically, but I like it more. Yeah. So yeah.
It's your list, you know.
It's my list, and no one gonna touch my list, baby. Yeah. Unfortunately, Roddy, Lion and Licking 1.5 was the secret ingredient, so you've been chucked out of the dream restaurant. I was gonna start this episode being like, "Welcome to the dream restaurant," but I won't. Amelia, you've already had your number 4. Yeah. Are we now going to you for your number 3? No. Okay.
Back to
Roddy.
The format of your podcast.
So, fans of this podcast and my episodes may know this.
Fans of your episodes. Do you know what, mate? The last one that we did has been one of the ones that I get spoken to about all the time. People going, I love the idea of the DVD movie. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Of all the things I've done in it, that's the discernible bit of information you took away. Anyway.
It may seem like I haven't watched many movies.
It's Boss Baby.
And so I keep reusing them.
It's gonna be Boss Baby.
But I think this film, I've actually been a part of it. This film came out a while ago, but they've recently been readapting it, or planning on readapting it, and I got the opportunity to reach out to the people creating it, and I had a conversation with them about I was actually going to be the lead. This is I can show you the emails.
Amelia's your girlfriend's laughter is not filling me with hope.
It's true, but it's also, it wasn't the film that you reached out for.
No, it was the live. It was the stage show, and this film is Hercules. Unfortunately, KJ Appa took the role from me.
Right, okay,
but
I get the joke now.
Yeah, no, but I did. I applied.
Yeah, I'm sure you reached out, but you made it. You led with that I'm gonna be a part of,
and also I'm in conversation with.
In conversation with.
The conversation was.
No,
you sent them an email, and they went, "No, thanks."
No, here's my email to Disney on Broadway.
To whom this may concern, I've been singing a lot of Hercules in my car recently. And on reflection, I believe I'll make a great lead in your hit musical Hercules! ! Please don't hesitate to get in contact if Bradley, or as I call him, Brad, is ever ill. All the best, Roddy.
That was at the time he was...
Did you send a follow-up email?
So yeah, they then said... They sent me like a automated email. Thing. So I said, hey, is that a yes or no? So yeah, but this film, it holds a special place in my heart. I think, as I spoke about on the previous episode I was on, the soundtrack's fantastic. It's unique. It's during that period of Disney where you've got Emperor's New Groove sort of around the same time. Yeah. I feel like the animation's really fluid, bouncy. Everything's quite fun, poppy, and I think the story is really, really endearing. I think a lot of people can probably relate to it. You know, it's a lot about sort of, especially now, weirdly enough. I mean, I'm leaving university. Mills, you're leaving university. Dom, you're...
Give it another year.
Giving up.
Honest, don't pass me.
It's all about sort of that transitional period, finding your place. I think it's a very sweet story, and I think it's got really cool villains. You know, the Hydra, the I think everything about it's really, really cool.
And Hades is sick.
Hades
His
is-
hairstyle
cool.
is incredible.
Hades is cool. The goat is a cool trainer. Who acts the goat?
No
Voice
idea.
acts. It's he's got a great
He's
voice.
also not a goat.
What? No, that's silly. They didn't get a real. When will people learn? What we're after is goat voices in goat roles.
Biological goat.
God.
It's
Such a stupid joke.
I like Hercules a lot.
He's also not a goat. What are we hoping to achieve? Man? Also not a
I meant the
goat.
character's
What?
not even a goat.
Oh right.
But you guys have ran with it.
Sorry, I
now.
meant the guy.
I'll take it up with a joke. Makes me look more funny.
Also not a goat. Yeah, I agree.
So
I like the
that's my
villains.
film.
The villains are good. It always makes me think of that time that Percy Jackson decided that the best person they could pick to play Hades was Steve Coogan. It was like, really? Wow. All right, fair
I've got
enough.
a really niche reference, but when they're in the gods and it's got this like weird kind of like film on it,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds me of the early episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race.
I'm sure that's what RuPaul are going for. When they were like,
Godlike.
Godlike
excellent.
Hercules, yeah.
I have a vision for this number.
Sorry if that was any of your guys' number one. It's a good film.
I do like Hercules. I think Alan, as we said before, Alan Menken is a genius.
He is.
And the songs are great. Yeah.
What are the women on the vases called? The
Soul
Goats. No.
no, I think they're sick. Their songs are incredible.
Oh,
and the, like
yeah. I
five
don't.
part
Yeah.
songs are so good.
It's just like fun soul. It's something else from a Disney soundtrack. It's
You
good.
really
It's
feel
cool.
it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so good.
Emilian,
Oh,
numéro 3.
my number 3 is The Jungle Book.
Ooh. Oh, which one?
The one. Oh, the animated one.
Good,
The first
thank
one,
you, yeah.
obviously.
The other one was weird.
It's
I'm not-
just
Did
abomination.
I see it? I don't think I did.
It was-
That's so true. Oh yeah. Sorry. I don't think I saw it. I think I just saw the first one, and it is so good. The songs are incredible.
Yeah.
The animation style, because I also think around the time that I was watching it, it was like all Disney princesses, and
Sure.
then that was like the only thing that I'd watch other than Disney princesses, and I think it's so good and such a good story, and I love Baloo.
Baloo's the best.
And Shere Khan is scary,
Yeah.
genuinely, as a kid.
So it's a cool villain name. Shere
Shere
Khan.
Khan.
Like that is really cool.
Yeah. Well, have you ever played Mortal Kombat?
Oh no, is
They've
that
got
based off?
some of the best. It's based off
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book. No, but it's got some of the best villain names ever in it.
Yeah.
Like imagine just like Kotal Khan being called Reptile, or like I'm trying to think of others. Devourer.
Yeah.
All these these are
Those
cool,
badass.
they're badass names. But yeah, the Jungle Book is brilliant, and what we all. I think I speak for everyone when I say I watched the Jungle Book and I thought this is amazing, but it's missing one thing, and it's Christopher Walken as a giant monkey, and I am so glad that we got to rectify that the second time around.
Yeah.
No, the thing is it's timeless animation. That
So-
2D style is, and that's why I
So
don't think
good.
we ever need these 3D remakes. Like they are impressive of feats of CGI, but at the same time, you lose the essence of what the original was about. I think.
Yeah.
And it was still hand drawn at that point.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
absolutely,
And
yeah.
It's so beautiful, and also it's like I've never not thought that I want to be able to peel a mango in the way that the bear does it, in like a
Fucking
complete
badass,
spiral,
perfect spiral, like
And
a
then-
Tropicana.
and then put it on and like suck it off.
I think the film's great. I really like it. I just have like one sort of like gripe with it. I think this is probably similar for a lot of people. It's just they don't have the real animals voice acting.
Right?
Like, they don't have the
Literally
accurate
taking
bears.
food out of the mouths of bears,
Yeah.
snakes, and
Tigers. The vultures. Like give them
Was
the respect they deserve.
Weasels? Is that wrong? Is that so?
The vultures were famous actors. They were comedians of some sort. I can't remember
not
who they were.
Beatles.
Maybe they were styled off the Beatles. Oh my god.
What's he doing walking around with a big bear?
I just
That's my generic Beatles voice.
Wait, that...
Spreading
I think
false
that
news.
was... Wait, who... Hold on. Who were the vultures in Jungle Book?
Buzzy, Dizzy, Flaps. Oh my... No, closely resemble the four
So they were meant to be the Beatles.
because they're shaggy mop top and Liverpool accents, was it?
I fell for it.
It was...
Zing! Got ya.
But the rumour had... Okay, so they asked John Lennon to do it.
Think
John
that was-
Lennon suggested to Disney that they should hire Elvis Presley, which they did not. And they got J. Pat O'Malley, Digby Wolfe, Lord Tim Hudson, and Chat Stewart. So
They're
brilliant.
funny
Basically
because,
the same thing.
because vultures are always kind of the scary things in films. And I was like, whoa, these vultures are sick. And then I went to see them at the zoo and I was like, vultures are fucking scary.
Disgusting!
Because they wee on themselves
They do.
to moisturise their legs.
It's fair enough.
Waste not, want not. I mean, you know. But I always think of Ice Age 2 when I think of vultures. Food, glorious food.
Yes, of course. That's a good film.
It is a good film. Actually, none of the Ice Age films are in here, but are they DreamWorks?
They are
They are
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
but they are good.
We should do a DreamWorks one.
We should, because there are lots
Shrek.
that I could talk about. Shrek. There's a show currently at the Fringe called Swamp-lesque, and it's a burlesque show with everyone from Shrek. So if you're in Edinburgh over the next month, you can go and be visually stimulated by a giant ogre gyrating in your... And the gingerbread man. And
And there's so much green body paint.
oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to end this episode with no, we're gonna have to end this episode with our pitch for our Edinburgh Fringe show.
Yes,
because
Oh,
Ed came up with a good name for it before.
Yeah.
So we'll get that in.
I like your name.
I like my name, but we'll come to that. My number 3 is Finding Nemo.
Yes.
There is a podcast which is for screenwriters. I think it's called Script Notes, and they did an episode basically talking about how Finding Nemo is the perfect example of how to set up characters in your story so that people get on side with them. So at the beginning of the film, Marley is already a nervous dad. But he's a caring person, so he's immediately someone you're sympathetic for. You're on side with him. And then, not enough that his wife dies, but...
Marvin.
That's the one. What did I say?
Marley.
That's
I was like, oh,
the
God.
dead dog from Home. You're a great dog. He not only does he lose his wife, but he loses almost all of his children. Right, only one is left, and that's not enough, right? Because we already know he's nervous, and now his nervousness is compounded by the fact that his only child left, his only memory of his wife and all the rest of his kids, and his son is disabled. He has one short fin that doesn't let him swim properly. And just so immediately from minute one, you're on board with this and you're feeling the dad's anxiety. You understand as a parent, even as a kid, you can understand his nervousness about Marley going out and doing, he's not a dog, he's a fish. Nemo going out and doing all of this crap. There's too many fucking animals. I think they should have been voiced by a fish, but personally, you immediately, just an entire film.
I'd watch it.
Mum, what is this? It's DVD's on. And then straight to DVD. What's the starfish got to say? No, I think...
didn't get the...
Ooga. Yeah, I know. Which all the stuff in the fish tank is absolutely fabulous.
Batshit.
It's so fun. It's batshit. It's great. It brilliantly evokes the feeling of hating small children by a horrible little turd walking in with braces, shaking up a bag and killing fish. I can't remember what her name is. Satan. She. I mean, it's just, again, all of the character designs are brilliant. Like even little mini stuff like the seagulls, but. It's quite possible my thalassophobia stems from Darla.
Darla is the reason why I was scared to get braces. Because I didn't want
Fair,
to...
no one wanted to look like Darla. No, understandable. I think...
Thalassophobia came from Nemo.
I'm almost certain it did, yeah. Because the idea of... It's just that there's like one shot where they're just him and Dory swimming along. And out of nowhere from behind them, big shark comes out of nowhere. And I'm like, fuck that. Absolutely not. So, and the lanternfish and all that kind of stuff, everything going on, and then the jellyfish rising up, which is properly creepy. And then there's also the turtles being like, "Hey, dude, catch the wave."
The jellyfish one,
Yeah.
I don't understand why that's like that imagery is used in dentists, because that is a kind of, you know, on like screens or like waiting areas when there's like jellyfish circling. It's just...
Do they not just normally have an aquarium?
No.
No.
But you know what I mean? Like, on, like, a waiting screen when it's, like, that weird, like, holiday pictures. It's always jellyfish, and it's unnecessarily scary.
Oh, I sort of know what you mean. Yeah, okay. Fair. Well, maybe they got it from Finding Nemo.
Traumatized me.
Yeah.
It also birthed the immortal line, "You totally rock, dude," or whatever. That was a good
You're
line.
totally right. Pound it. Noggin.
Yeah.
Faster, stronger. I also think that it's great that, like, the upshot of the Sharks is basically like it's a therapy group, and they just sort of get together and start talking about stuff. I think it's the only time I've ever enjoyed Ellen DeGeneres.
She's in it.
She's Dory. Did you not know
Really?
this? Yeah, and
I
she's
had no idea.
fantastic.
She is
good.
She's great.
I don't like her at all.
I know, but I also I've listened to a reading into it where she's lying the whole time. She doesn't have memory loss because her symptoms are not consistent with. There's two types of memory loss. There's anterograde and retrograde. One is you can't remember all your new memories, and one is you forget all your old memories, right?
Okay.
And she consistently flips between the two. So there's this whole idea that actually she's just sort of playing Marvin along the whole time, stringing him along. But I love all the little gags in it. I love the way it introduces you to the sea and all this kind of stuff. It's a good way. But when we get to the second one, we get to a pet peeve of mine, and Jack Howard has talked about this as well, but I completely concur, which is things driving cars that shouldn't be driving cars. So a bunch of random sea creatures escape from the aquarium box in the second one and drive a truck over a bridge.
I've not seen that.
And it's just, well, there's a starfish on the floor just pressing the accelerator. And it's like, what the fuck is this?
The best thing about the escape in the first one is that they were in their own bags.
Yeah,
Which makes sense. Because then they can breathe.
And that great moment going, yes, Grass, yeah, get him, we're outside. What do we do? What's next? I don't understand. Because we're all trapped in the bag, and then they're worried about the seagulls. It's great. There's so many elements to it. And I think, yeah, like I said, it sets itself out from the start as being, like, character-driven.
And again, my favourite scene, I think it's just because I only remember the beginning of all films, but is the Stingray school bus.
Yeah,
All the
that's sweet, isn't it?
So cute.
Yeah.
Oh, love that scene.
What, Roddy?
Okay, so my number two. It's not one I really realised was a Disney film in my head at first, but it is, and I don't know why I never clocked it. It's specifically no, cut this bit because I'm going to search up the date.
It's going to stay in.
No,
Just so people know what a charlatan that you are.
No.
I'm like really scared. You make me nervous.
Yeah, you do. Breaking news: Roddy is
Okay,
a fraud.
it's specifically the 1951 animated version of this film, and I watch it. It's probably my most watched Disney film of all time. I watch it all the time. I watch it when I want to show people really cool animation. I watch it when I want to freak people out. I watch it when I want to make people sad, and when I make people happy. I watch it all the time. And it's Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Great.
Fucking prick.
We were talking about the Jungle Book and its endearing, hand-drawn style. And Alice in Wonderland is that, but sort of on steroids, because it's the animators just allowed to basically draw whatever they want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most, as is the book, the most bizarre series of encounters. And so the animators just go absolutely ham, draw beautiful bit. I mean, the whole scenes in the garden and the animation and the whole film can, from one moment, be really wonderful and happy. And then in a split second, the tone changes. Maybe they take a borrowed chord from a song and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, we're in a different mood. All of a sudden you're terrified, you're really anxious. Out of nowhere, the whole setting just changes like that on a dime. And it's very similar to how a dream is. You jump from one thing to another, and obviously it is a dream. And I think the animated film, I don't care for the live action remake, but the animated film perfectly encapsulates, I feel, what a dream feels like. It's just so, oh my god, this is happening, but to Alice it all makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a great film.
Yeah. All of the stuff with the Cheshire Cat really stuck with me as a kid. It really weirded me out in like a good way. And then it fed back, because the thing about Alice in Wonderland is it's batshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's fabulous nonsense. And arguably then the 2D animation style is just the best way to go about doing that.
I mean, the walrus bit is just terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so insidious. It's like this guy grooming these little oyster children away from their mother and then eating them. And then they, like, kill each other.
Nom.
It's like, it's crazy.
It is a
and
bit.
it's like, I don't even know if it is a kid's film, because it's quite terrifying.
I mean, it is.
But, like, as a child, it's terrible. The Cheshire Cat's really scary.
Yeah.
The walrus guy's really scary. The whole thing is about this child being really scared and unaware. I think it's quite an unsettling film for a really young person. It's fine because it's fun colours and fun people.
Yeah.
But for like a sort of, tween age, it's just a terrifying film.
Sure.
'Cause all of a sudden you understand it and it's like, whoa, this is quite messed up and scary, and she's lost.
There's a concept that Michael's spoken about on this podcast before, which is the first moment as a kid where you go, what the hell, I'm not in Eden, this world is evil, what the hell's going on, what the fuck. And for me it was like the first time I got stung by a wasp and I was like, what? The world is out to kill me. I think that there is like a characteristic of these kind of films, and I think that is the point of them, is that all kids could spend their entire childhood just watching Paw Patrol, but then they'd know nothing about the real world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the good thing about Paw Patrol, I suppose, is they actually get the dogs to voice the characters. So I
do like that.
No, but, there is a point to this kind of weird stuff. Like, they're all introductions to heavy topics. Every film that you've ever seen that's for adults will borrow from the ideas set out by the kids' films. Quite often, films that are grown-up adult films will specialise in the topics that they're talking about, but they will all stem from the root of one of the ideas used in a kids' film, which are far more broad. So you've got like dreams and madness, or like loss or death, or sadness or happiness, or mental health, and then from there the grown-up ones often, because they don't want to just do what's been done before, they'll sort of intricate it a bit and try and mould it a bit more. But the kids ones have to be they have to do a really good job at covering the bases of those moods, and they do it all the time. Alice in Wonderland is the perfect example of being like, here's a case of someone basically losing their mind, which is a perfectly possible thing to happen in life, but here we are, and also they come out the other side of it, and there's a way of doing that, and there's a way of feeling that, which is like not making every timid kid ever just shit themselves and not want to go outside, but it does it in a way which is sort of like hand on the shoulder type thing. And that's again coming back to Soul. It's like, it wasn't beating you over the head with it wasn't scaring you with it, but it was just sort of being like, Bester comes to terms with this, and here's a helpful way of doing that, here's our version of help. And I really, really like that Alice in Wonderland is just nuts and creepy, but in the right, just about the right level. Big fan.
I was so obsessed with that film.
Yeah.
So obsessed. I had 2 birthday parties based around Alice in Wonderland.
Did you do a tea party?
Tea party,
Excellent.
dressed up, everything.
Nice.
I love Alice in Wonderland. I love everything about it. I love, we even played croquet. Shitly. With shit standing paper things. But,
Game's a game.
Game's a game. Like the hedgehogs and the flamingos, iconic. So cute. Again, I love the
Someone's grandma's just...
the puns of the butterflies that were like 2 slices of bread with butter on them.
Oh, I've forgotten about that detail.
Love that. I think the detail is so important. Yeah. And then like she's following the footsteps, and there's a dustpan and brush that sweeps up all the footsteps.
There's
like,
a dog, is it? It's like
so smart. I think it's just like a proper trip, and it's so good and so colourful. And
Alternative reading is its kids' first introduction to LSD.
To crazy psychedelics.
So was that your number 2 then, or not? No. What is your number 2?
My number 2. I'm so deflated that you've already talked about.
Well, we know where it is then. My
number 2 is The Lion King. Number 1.
Okay.
No, do it.
No, my voice cracked mid, so I'll either stay in. Yeah, talk to us about The Lion King, because we all love The Lion King.
Everyone loves The Lion King. I don't think anyone hates it. It's just such a good film. It's a proper education. It's got death in it, but in a nice way.
Stampeded to death. Yeah, it's really friendly,
nice.
Kind of nice.
The best way to go.
Nasty way to go.
And It's got the best proper form of like regimented dictation with the hyena march.
That's a specific subset of movies, isn't it?
Which I think all kids need to learn about from an early age.
They do.
I just think it's great, and I like it's like a proper Disney film where it plays into all of the characteristics of the whole lime green thing.
Yeah.
Of all villains being in lime green, and Scar's such a great baddie.
Love Scar.
Because he's kind of laughable, but like in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Zazu gets put in a rib cage. So fucking funny. And the stage production is incredible.
Mm-hmm. It's timeless.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
Like, it's never gonna die.
Yeah.
And also, it's like they claim it's Hamlet, right?
Supposedly.
And
yeah.
I've never seen Hamlet, but I don't think I need to. Don't think I need to read it. Don't think I
Who's
need
the
to see it.
Shakespeare bloke?
I'm just like,
Timon and Pumbaa for me.
fucking hell. If the Lion King's that accurate, I've got it covered.
Yeah. I think it's one of the best bits of writing that Disney have ever done. I think when you actually break it down, the script for The Lion King is really, really clever, because it could so easily be this kind of full of puns and horrible wordplay on like pride and pax and pleurisy. But it's actually, you just sort of, it's like the characters just happen to be the animals. It's not like you're just going, oh, let's dive into the animal world for a bit. It's like they're all just going through this stuff, and then they're animals. That's kind of just the shtick.
Well, that's one of my issues with it, is that the animals are unvoiced by...
How many times are we going to do this? You same shit, guy.
But also, like, the songs are incredible. They're so good and so memorable. And, like, they managed to make animals dance, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Like, the whole...
The pyramid thing where
like,
they're all standing on top of each
Yeah,
other.
I was going to say tier of cake, but tier of animals.
Yeah.
Like, they're not dancing, but they feel like they are.
Elton John, man.
But in Lion King 1.5, actually, it's they take that a step further, and you can see everything underneath it. You can see all... This is what I love about Lion King 1.5, because that bit, the tiered cake of animals, great part of Lion King 1. In Lion King 1.5, you get even more of it.
Get more
you
cake.
get you get the perspective from Timon and Pumbaa of what they say. Why the hell are their animals all standing on top of each other? Oh wait, they just collapsed on where we're trying to sleep. It's a great film. They're both great films. Mine's better, but it's like Lion King, the original's quite good as well.
I also love Rowan Atkinson, so the fact that Zizou.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Big brownie points.
Yeah.
And Rafiki's incredible.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also forget Rafiki's a man in the film.
Yeah, but it's always played by a woman on the West End, right?
And it's so good. Or like female presenting person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the songs are great. Oh.
Proper earworms.
Yeah.
It was the perfect, like, shut up. It was the perfect, like, alchemy, I think, of getting all the right people to do the right bits.
Yes.
And then it culminating in that.
And it was really early on.
It was
as well.
really early on, yeah.
Like, as you say, it's completely timeless, but they managed to get it right early, and it was so good.
It's not massively my place to say it, but I'm not...
Strap in.
Okay. I feel like a lot of... one big example is Mumford & Sons' African quote album, where they they try and do this album which is incorporating loads of African artists, and it feels very forced. It feels like we're doing a cash grab for music that isn't West and stuff like that, and it doesn't really work. But Lion King, it doesn't feel like cultural appropriation like Mumford & Sons, but it feels like proper synthesized cultural appreciation. You've got Hans Zimmer merging perfectly with a lot of sort of African artists, and I think that's what makes the music so special. Is you can feel that everyone involved was working together to make one harmonized project, and I think that's what makes some of the music so special, in my opinion. Anyway,
I understand that. Elton John tells a story that he was driving his nephews, the Beckham children, around, and Brooklyn goes, "Uncle Elton," and he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You write songs, don't you?" And he goes, "Yeah. You wrote The Lion King, didn't you, Elton?" "Yeah, I did, yeah." "Sing us one." And then he just has to sit there and sing the entire album.
But it's the same. We were going to do it about Hugh Jackman, but...
We were going to have this entire episode dedicated to Hugh Jackman film.
Because he's a fucking legend.
Because he's a hero.
But he Ryan Reynolds walked into his house the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and his kids were on the sofa, and Hugh Jackman was singing the entire Greatest Showman in front of him.
God. Bloody
He
hell.
was like, what have I walked into?
Give the man a break.
with the telly on in the background.
Yeah, brilliant.
So
I mean, to be fair, if he was your dad, you would make that happen on a regular basis, I think.
Yeah, he's the Godfather, I think.
Yeah. All right, my number 2 is Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
And
Monsters Inc. not Monsters University.
I despise Monsters University.
Do you?
But it's abhorrent.
Whoa.
It's not abhorrent. It's completely harmless. Apart from the fact that it fundamentally shouldn't exist. And the reason is that there's a line in Monsters, Inc. when Mike says to Sully, "Oh, you've been jealous of my good looks since like the 4th grade," or something like that. And then it shows them meeting at university, and people are going, "Yeah, but it doesn't matter." Yeah, but this shit matters. Like, you wrote that for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just bypass the stuff.
Maybe they were just faking it. Maybe they're like, "Whoa, bro,
Well-
what are you doing here?"
Well, no, that's not.
Also, Monsters University's got a better video game.
Brilliant, yeah. So sod this, I guess. Let's just my favorite video game. My favorite film ever is football because I love FIFA. Fucking hell.
Wait, this is animated.
Shh,
Yeah, yeah.
FIFA's animated.
Also, football, I don't think it's Disney.
God above. Yeah, I think we were talking about hand on the shoulder type stuff about real themes, but making it, pertinent. Being scared is something that every single kid will go through. And the idea of a film which, on the face of it, for kids, is about monsters who try and be the best at scaring children, and for adults, is about monsters who try and instill the values of capitalism on the only available resource that they can properly get their hands on. I think the character design is absolutely perfect. I think case in point for that is Randall, who is one of the creepiest things you will ever see. I also think that, I mean, I've got a huge soft spot for Billy Crystal, so having him be Mike Wazowski, it's a story goes that he was offered Woody for Toy Story and turned it down because he thought, I don't know if this is going to happen, I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, and then obviously regretted it for the rest of his life. And then they offered him, Mike Wazowski, and he was there like a shot. But there's so much in it that is thematically rich. All the power outage stuff was terrifying. I remember the being lost in the snow planet was terrifying. They're going through the doors all being hung up in the factory place.
Oh, like Scully hugging
Yeah.
Sue's door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I mean, it's all of it is like I can't think of a foot wrong in the entire film. And that bit where he's strapped in a chair and they've got that mask going towards him and it's like he's gonna die, it's just petrifying.
I was always really scared of Mike Wazowski getting something in his eye.
Well, when
really
he takes out that
stressed me
massive
out.
contact lens.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah. But it's this, this whole, like, when he's got in the restaurant with a girlfriend and they lift up the newspaper to have the conversation behind the thing and she's just sat there like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is this? And, like, they can't hear. I think all of it is just gold standard stuff, and it's quotable as hell. Like, the amount of times that someone's gotten something on them and I've shouted 2319 at them, or the amount of times I've done an impression of Roz.
Yeah.
Like, at the beginning of the last episode, me and my sister were just testing the mics and we were mucking around, but like, it was literally like, Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork last night. And you go,
I'm watching you.
oh, that darn paperwork, wherever did it get to this time? Yeah, it's so well-spirited, but it's creepy. It's got a message which, if you're an adult, is like, shit. And coming from Pixar, is like Disney Pixar as well, being like, yeah, making money is really evil, and I think the rules of the world are a bit wrong, actually. And then it's like, sorry, you've monetized everything. But I still love it. And then Monsters University really, really hacked me off, because it's a fun story and all that kind of stuff, but it just, I don't think it should exist. And I do take it to heart, because Monsters Inc. was a huge part of my childhood. So it's fine. I'll go for it.
I have a question.
Go on.
Would you rather have Randall's scaly skin or Scully's fairy skin?
Scully. I would go
Scully.
Randall.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Randall, you can go invisible.
No, invisible, but also I think would Sully not get really, really hot?
Yeah, I always felt bad for Sully for having such fluffy skin.
It's not. It's probably okay. That's his fur, not his skin.
Poor guy, where did his skin
shed his own skin?
And then
It's
also,
so mouldy.
also, we haven't talked about Easter eggs of
of
stuff being in
course.
other films. But Scully gets...
Sully.
Oh, fuck. Have I said it wrong the whole time?
Yeah, you have, yeah. I let it go the first 2 times, but I'm not going to do it anymore.
Sully.
Yeah.
He gets skinned and used as a toilet cover in a different film.
Does he really?
What? Yeah. And
Oh
it really,
my God.
I got to Google it, but it really freaks me out. And I've always felt really guilty for that.
Well, you didn't do it.
No, but I felt like...
Every time you go to the bathroom going, oh God, Sully, I'm sorry.
Wait, how do you spell his name?
How'd you think?
Oh, I still put a K in it.
Scully.
Scully.
Scully's the dead metal version of Sully.
Yeah, look. In
What film's it in?
Toy Story.
Oh my God!
There's Toy Story references in Monsters Inc.
I was in a
as well.
short.
In
But it's
Monsters
still
Inc.
terrifying,
That is
right?
petrifying.
You don't want to be a toilet seat.
No, I don't want to be that.
And actually, do you know the end of Monsters Inc? He peers his head through the door. And he thinks he's lost contact or whatever. He peers his head through the door, and you hear her go, "Kitty," and then it cuts to black, and then that's enough, and you know that they're going to be, and that's like, yeah. And again, it's not just about like being scared of the dark or whatever. It's literally making friends with the monsters under the bed, right? And actually integrating that fear or part of yourself into your wider life, and then coming to accept it and moving on with it.
I think it did help me not be scared of what's in my cupboard.
Yeah.
Until I watched Doctor Who, the Doll's House.
Night Terrors.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
There is nothing worse on the entire planet than that episode of Doctor Who.
That is a scary
I'm actually sweating right now.
I distinctly remember watching it the first time when the landlord gets turned into one of the dolls and just being like, "Good
horrible.
God, I
The
shall
massive
not be
scissors as
sleeping."
well.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is. That is unpleasant, in
traumatising.
fairness. But then you have to watch Monsters Inc. straight afterwards. Just
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
it's
just
fine. It's
cool
Billy
it.
Crystal. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah, I'm faultless. Roddy, your favourite Disney Pixar film?
So,
There's always a huge little caveat story.
yeah, this is one I hold very near and dear to my heart. And eagle-eyed listeners will have picked up what this is already because I actually mentioned it earlier. And this also had a fantastic video game on the original Xbox. It was open world, one of the first open world games I ever played. I used to just absolutely bash the Grand Prix over and over and over again, and I'd beat Chick Chicka, and you know I wanted to be part of Dinoco. I eventually got the Lightning McQueen Dinoco skin, and of course my favourite Disney animated film is Cars, the original. I think it's fantastic. I love that Sally is a Porsche. I think it's really cool. I think it's unnecessary that they had to have Cars World War II in the film. I think
Hitler.
yeah, I think Cars Hitler is an unnecessary detail
I think it's kind of funny.
in the franchise, but
They made an entire new world. Just still managed to go
Very well selling video game, that one.
Yeah,
It's Cars World War II.
Saving Private McQueen. But like, I think it's a poignant tale of humility.
Dunkirk.
It's a poignant tale of humility. You know, I think a lot of these stories, it's a bit like Bolt in that sense, but I feel like a lot of these stories, they're the main character, they know they're the main character, and they stay the main character.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's trended away from that. But in this era of Disney films, it's always just about these characters. They're the main ones, and they're our side characters, and we care less about them. But in Cars, but in Cars, you know, he's the guy. He's this cool guy. He's living the life. He's about to go to his big race. He's winning everything, and then his truck driver gets like
Shot.
assaulted.
Yeah.
And he gets like ground down to like the same as all of these like backwater village people, and he makes friends, and you love all the characters. All of the characters have their place. They all like build him back up. A bit of like a Rocky moment with Doc as well. Doc's great. He's a really lovely role model. And I think the whole film, the franchise, I mean, it's such a big part of my childhood. I've got Cars bed sheets. I collected Cars toys. Actually, when...
Present tense.
When... Yeah.
Yeah, they're
when,
really sexy.
There's no wonder you got out of it.
When my brother and sister were born, actually, I have twin brothers and sisters for those listening that don't know.
Yeah, and not plural, just
and
one set of each.
it's a brother and a sister. And when they were born,
Fuck that
they came
one.
out of the womb with Cars toys. As what my parents had read in a book, that if the younger siblings give the already established child a gift when they're born, it's like, oh, their friend, not competition in the family. So anyway, when I was 3, I visited my mum in the hospital, and in their cots were Cars toys. So my siblings have brought me Cars toys when I was 3, and that was great. So
Yeah, they didn't have them in the womb.
Roddy,
Don't worry.
what the fuck are you talking about?
no, do you not know that? So okay.
No, you said that they came out of the womb with
Yeah.
Cars
Well, how
toys.
else did they get in the cot?
Well, someone
They went-
put them there? Rather than...
No, my
No,
brother and sister
they
gave
went-
me Cars toys.
They went to the shops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not out of the womb.
but you made it sound like they were born holding Lightning McQueen.
Well, to my 3-year-old self, that's exactly what I
That's
thought. Yes.
really stressful.
genuinely quite
For a
disconcerting.
woman to have 2 babies and 2 Cars toys.
Well
in.
done, Mrs. Cummins. You've delivered the babies wonderfully. Congratulations.
packaged.
There's just only one thing left to do, and I'm afraid there is tomato stuck up you. So we are going to have to get that out now. I'm sorry if Roddy's mum's listening. I do apologise.
Or even worse, like, yeah, well done, 2 babies, but can we just talk? Why were the why were the Cars toys?
Why was
in
the
there
tow
with them?
truck in there with you?
Yeah.
She just thought they might need a little help.
No,
pulling out.
at the time, Cars was just the biggest thing in my life. I used to watch it over and over. My mum would just like, when they went out, they just chuck me in my room, pop Cars on repeat, and I just sit there and watch it. I know,
Your mum accidentally gives birth to Owen Wilson.
I know every single.
Instead of crying, they go, wow.
I know every single word to the Cars film.
Right.
No,
I can recite the whole thing.
every single
I believe
word.
you. No, I believe you. Yeah.
It was such a massive part of my childhood, and I think it's a great film.
It's a great film. I have a question. Do they... The biology of the cars is fascinating to me.
Oh, yeah.
Where do baby cars come from?
The shop.
I don't want to tell you.
The shop.
Yeah.
Well, then how are they given sentience?
They're designer babies.
They put the engine in, they put the brain in. It's like
Who?
Frankenstein.
Who? They don't have
Petrifying.
posable thumbs.
In it?
Oh, the
They just get
the
Luigi
guy,
to do it.
Yeah, the folk guy. He's actually a maternity person.
Luigi.
Luigi is the car's equivalent of a midwife, is what you're telling us.
Pit stop.
My favourite bit of the entire car series franchise is he's sad, right? And then he goes into the truck and to have the sad conversation.
Yeah.
What's his big truck called?
Mac.
Mac.
Yeah. So I imagine that entire sad conversation is Mac giving Lightning McQueen a piggyback,
Oh, that's quite sweet.
which is fucking hysterical that they're going down the road. Because like, how else would it be? It's not
Yeah.
inside him, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
that's traumatizing. It's just on his back.
That's the crazy thing about Cars in general. I mean, obviously it's animated, so like you can do anything with
Yeah.
it. But they give so much expression to cars. Like when you were thinking of Lightning McQueen being sad, I could very vividly imagine like the whole body slumping a bit, and just that you can tell he's sad because I mean it's
It's the shape of a smile, isn't it?
yeah, it's such talent to be able to, like, from the animators, to be able to give physical emotion to a bloody car.
Also a really good idea, because it would be so easy to make the headlamps the eyes,
Yeah.
but they made, the windshield has got to be the eyes, which
Definitely.
makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
And
otherwise
it
it'd be a
looks-
hammerhead shark.
Well, exactly, all of them.
Yeah.
And you're right, the characterization of all of the people that they meet is great. I mean, it's stereotypical as fuck, but
Yes.
they are all fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that the 3, like, Knight Rider cars that they come across
Yeah, they're
are
badass.
so cool.
That's so cool.
I fucking love the lowrider. What's his name?
I don't...
Ramon!
Ramon!
He's sick.
Well, they all come out with fresh paint jobs. It's
Yeah.
great. The new town where they've all done it up looks fabulous. Yeah, I love cars.
Life could be a dream.
Life could
And
be a dream.
Life is a Highway is
The
one of the
soundtrack
best
is
songs
banging.
ever.
Yeah, it's a great tune.
I always put that on when I'm driving.
Yeah, same. Even I'm just like going to my
Yeah.
pub job and being like, everything's fine.
I feel like I'm racing.
So, am I to take it then that your number one is Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, ruined my life. However, we've discussed that already, so I'm going to discuss my actual favourite animated film.
Yeah, Amelia was like, I've got my number one. I was like, okay, well, don't tell us. And she was like, it's Fox, does that matter? And I was like, well, yeah, obviously.
But we haven't talked about Disney princesses.
No.
And that's, like, obviously a big part of my life as a girl. But my favourite Disney princess, I never knew wasn't actually a Disney princess. So, my favourite film is Anastasia, which is the Romanov princess. Such a good film, but it's not Disney Princess, it's 20th Century Fox. And I'm going to talk about it for the next, 3 minutes, because...
Why not?
It's such a good film. Have you guys seen it?
I have once, but I don't remember much of it.
Oh, it's so good. It's 2D, and it's weirdly it feels like everything's been filled in by that little paint can rather than shaded properly. But just kind of block colour. But it's, apart from the backgrounds are sick. But it's great. It's a film where
Good start.
the princess doesn't know she's a princess, she's an orphan, and she gets to, I think probably 18. She gets to 18 and then she's like, oh shit, I'm out on the real world, and she's in St. Petersburg. What's the name change from St. Petersburg?
It is St. Petersburg now, but it was Leningrad.
And it's so good, and it's not 100% historically accurate, but I feel like I did learn a lot about the Romanovs and the Russian kind of invasions. And basically she meets these two scallywags that
Brilliant use of the word scallywags.
that are con artists, and the Duchess, I think she's the Duchess, has escaped the people that have overthrown the crown and gone to Paris. And then the con artists are like, and she's looking for the princess, the lost princess, and the con artists are like, oh, we're just going to choose a woman and we're going to go to Paris and just present this woman as the princess. And she just happens to stumble across them, not even whatever. And they're like, great, we're going to choose her. So they lie to her the whole time and tell her this whole backstory about how she's the princess and we think you're whatever. And then it turns out she actually is. Drama. But the Duchess doesn't want to hear her story because she's seen too many women that are con artists and they just want the money. And it's just so good and so heartwarming. And it's it doesn't feel too prissy because she's such a kind of
real figure.
Yeah. And just she's a bit of a tomboy. She doesn't like wearing the dresses, and it's really good. I
mean, yeah, it's no surprise that one stands out, because the thing is if little kids are enjoying watching classic Disney princess stuff, then that's fine. That's cool. But also, a lot of people will have been told that that's something they have to like, or just sort of decided to like it a bit because everyone else did.
And she doesn't have Barbie figures.
Right.
Figure. She's not 500 feet tall and with a waist of a centimetre.
Sure.
She does look kind of realistic, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good choice then.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's been a complete waste of time because it's not a Disney Pixar film.
Well,
Cut!
Roddy
This entire segment will be gone. No, I agree with that. In fact, just briefly before I mention my number one, if we're going to do Disney princesses, gotta be Princess and the Frog for me.
Ooh,
which I think is the standout of the Disney princess films.
But honorable mention.
I've got a real soft spot for witch doctors and stuff like that. In which case, I'll talk about my number one very quickly, which is Anyone Can Cook.
Oh.
Ratatouille.
Yeah. I was surprised it wasn't on yours.
I thought it would be on yours. It's faultless. It's got loads of French music, which I thought would be annoying in French, and it's actually just not annoying. It's really nice. But the message, it's really weirdly akin to Into the Spider-Verse, which is anyone can wear the mask. In this, anyone can cook. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. You can literally be a sewer rat. That's what Remy becomes. That first entire opening section is him becoming a literal sewer rat. He's no longer out in the rainy fields of Provence or wherever he was in France or wherever. He's now stuck in the sewers of Paris like a rat, like the scum of the earth. And yet he stumbles across this guy who is at the bottom of the rung of the ladders in terms of the kitchen in Gusteau's. He's there purely by chance, as we later find out that the only reason he got a job was because he was related. And symbiotically, they managed to work together to take the place all the way up to the top again. And I love the fact that it doesn't like Gusteau's closed down. Like, I love the fact that they don't just sort of perpetually go, and we saved it and it's all great. It's the fact that they were like, yeah, these are rats.
Right,
yeah. And you can't just lock up the health inspector forever. He's going to report back. They had to let him go. And then Remy says that in the little voiceover. He's like, well, we had to let him go. And then they did, and obviously reported back. But then they make their own restaurant where everyone knows that rats are in charge.
Yeah.
And I love that. And the whole film hinges, I think, on the conversion of Anton Ego. And that moment where he takes the spoonful of ratatouille and it goes back into his eye and it brings him back to his childhood, and he completely changes the character that he is. He turns him into this someone who loves food, and that's always been there. He says, I don't like food, I love it. If I don't love it, I don't swallow. And that's like, oh, good. But he's telling the truth, and it's actually taking a jibe at movie critics, if you think about it. It's like, every movie critic is a movie critic, really, because they love films, right? That's why they do it. But also, people always give them this scary reputation of being like, oh my god, they're going to do a hatchet job on me and they're going to murder me, and god, I hate critics. They're so stuffy and boring and they don't ever do it and they don't know what they're talking about. But all it takes is the right thing to just completely open their mind up, and they will turn into a different person. I think it looks fabulous. I think all the characters are great. I love the fact that it's like you getting to know individual members of the rat family. Do you know the big henchman stocky rat that comes along with him? Do you know what his name is?
No.
Git. I only know this because there was a video game of Ratatouille, funny enough, which I played a lot of, and he was a character in it again.
See, it helps.
It does help.
Helps in the rankings.
It does help. But it's also, for anyone that loves food, just a great film.
So good.
And all the food looks so delicious.
It made me really excited to try Ratatouille, and I don't like Ratatouille.
Exactly, I hate Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Cause
Why?
I mean, I like some of the elements of Ratatouille, but altogether I just don't think it's my kind of thing.
I don't like tomato.
No.
Yeah, that's my problem as well. Yeah. All the courgette and stuff would be lovely, but the rest of it, no. But also, it takes place in the same universe as The Incredibles. Canonically, because in one of the shots of Paris, when he's scrolling through it, there was an Mr. Incredible logo in the back. So he's clearly like a poster or something. So clearly everyone knows about superheroes in this world.
I also wish cheese and strawberry tasted as good as they mix it up.
Yeah, honestly, that little animation bit where they taste both of them and they do a little ping round, they're so good. They're so good. Yeah, I can't really pick a fault in it, to be honest. It's a real comfort film for me. I will say that the fact that Linguini is able to afford an apartment which has that view of Paris is bullshit. But its heart is in the right place, and I think that's what's important about all of these, is that their heart are in the right place, and that matters. And they come out the other side being glorious.
Yeah. Preach that, sister.
So there we go.
Yeah, that's a good list.
That's a good list. Last thing to do before we go, because I will title this as a Fringe special.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about, very, very quickly, our idea for a Fringe show. Roddy?
Okay, so we have a couple minutes. So, pitch. You're the pitch people. Two fully naked men oiled up on exercise balls, which are also oiled up.
It's a good start, right?
And they are they trying to cook?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're trying to cook on a little stove.
But obviously everything's greasy and oily.
And so they find it really hard to cook.
And that was it.
Yep.
And then we went and had lunch yesterday. We were like, we might need a little bit more substance to attract some people along to this. So we might have to do some sort of interview at the same time, or set it up like a diner where, we've got we could have actors pretending to be customers who are waiting for food, and then waiters who are also oiled up going along being like, oh, we're trying, it'll be up with you as soon as we can.
I think it should be just those, I've thought about it, just those two guys, and it opens on them, and it's just them like, oh, guy, mate, I've just found this recipe and I think we should try it. And then you realise, then a maitre d' comes in a full tux. Brilliant. And is like, guys, we have tables. And then it's like more and more, and you've already seen how ridiculous it took for them to cook one meal.
I love that. Them starting off to be like, why don't we just do this thing? And then they're like actually employed somewhere. Fabulous.
And then they're like, mate, why?
What are you doing? What's this?
Why haven't you got your clothes on?
That's never explained, by the way. They're never gonna. So we've got 3 names in the running.
Yes.
The first one Ed came up with was deep, fat, fryer, which I think is really good. And then after that, I came up with 2 slimy cooks spoil the broth, which I do really like.
love that one.
But earlier, me and Ed had this moment where we looked at each other and we were talking about, they'll never get the clearance for the safety because there'll be a naked flame. Naked flame!
That's really good.
Which I think is really good. So expect potentially next year that to be circulating around the capital of Scotland on posters.
And everyone should come see it.
Everyone should come and see
And
it.
it's going to be sponsored by the Real Life Podcast.
Do you know what? I'll happily put my name to something of that glorious ilk. Yeah, thank you too for doing this because I know that you're like leaving like now.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Been a pleasure. Let's try and do the actual episodes that we did want to do at some point as well.
I need to watch some films though.
You will. Well, I mean, you've had months to hipster up your choices for stop motion.
Yeah, my issue.
And then she looked at me
I
on.
can't get to 5.
What was it? You couldn't get to 5. We're already doing 3. You looked at me on Monday, on Friday night, and just went. I was like, "You want to do the podcast?" And she was like, "I'm not ready." And I was like, "You told me you were." But
I suggested it as Dom being like, "Oh no, I would never pick that topic," and I was like, oh,
well, now I can.
Now you can.
So there we go.
Okay,
so yeah, expect some more episodes soon, and I'm gonna let these 2 get away. But thanks for listening. Lots of love.
Like and subscribe in the comments.
All that good stuff.
Follow
Share with your
Roddy
friends.
on Instagram.
Actually, follow Roddy because he's just released a song and it's really, really good. It's called All I Know, and he's got another one coming out soon called Manhattan.
What?
Yeah. So Nimrod dot on Spotify.
Yeah.
Get yourself
Listening.
listening.
Slay.
Bye.